Hello everyone, my name is Yulia and today in this video I'm going to show you how to work with dates and time according to different time zones in Codejig App Builder. As you can see, we already have an application and an empty page called time zones on it. So what we can do to work with dates and times, we can use some simple field types. Here they are. Let's get one of them and create a field on our page called local date and time with the same field type as we see out there. And what we can do, we can save our page and build it to see how does this field looks on it. So we can open right now, and here it is. Here we have the input for the local date and time. But imagine the situation that you are working with different offices in different countries and having different time zones. In this case, you need to have somehow synchronize your workers. To do this, you have to specify some default time zone for your application. To do this, you have to be logged in your application account. You could move to the app setting page then, and to check which time zone is selected as a default. For example, here we have the Europe-Berlin time zone, but we can change it to the Europe-Amsterdam, for example. So after saving, we can move back to our page, and what we will try to do is to set the value of this field equal to the date and time according to our application default time zone. To do this, what we need to do is to go to our editor of a page and create an action with a trigger on load, because as soon as our page is on load, we need to display the value of the field we have created equal to the date and time according to the Amsterdam time zone. So we create this block of event of action, and we can here use a built-in function which is called get default time zone, which will get a value from your application settings. And to store it somewhere, we need to create a variable of the time zone type. So we create this variable, give it a name, for example, an application time zone, and then we just set the value of this variable equal to the result of the function. And now we can try to set our field value equal to the date and time now with a specified time zone we have recently got. Here it is. So now we can save our newly created function. We can build our application and wait for some time to deploy it and then to see the result on our form. The result should be the date and time in the Netherlands right now. Our build has been finished, so now we can deploy. And now, after our application has been deployed, we can open it, and what we see is exactly our local time and date according to the Netherlands Amsterdam time zone. But what if we don't need any specified time zone, we don't have many offices and users, and we need to use just a time from our computer, our browser? So to do this, we can go back to our page and let's create a new field to store a local date and time again, but for the browser time zone. We save our web page after adding this field, and then again let's create an action, but now on loaded trigger, because as soon as our page will be loaded in some browser, we can get a time zone out of its settings. So we are now redirected again to the code block editor, and here we also have a special function called get browser time zone. We again need some variable of a type time zone to store the result of this function. So we create this variable, called it browser time zone, and now we set the value of this variable equal to the browser time zone. And now we are ready to set our local date and time browser equal to the now function result with a specified browser time zone. Here it is. So now we save our new function and we can build our application again and wait for some time, and the result will be a field with a local date and time but for a Kyiv time zone. And here it is, we have an 1 hour difference, and that's right. So what if we need some another type to store our date and time? Another popular one to add could be a timestamp. Let's create such field on our application page and call it timestamp and select the according timestamp. Here we are. Now let's attach it to our page. Here it is, and we can save it right now. And let's try to also set some value on a page load to see how to work with this way of storing date and time. And so we can now get this field, and let's find out what functions do we have. We have a num function for a timestamp, but it don't have any parameter for a time zone, and by default it just works with your browser time zone. So let's save and check if it's the same as our local date and time for the browser. So after saving, we need to build our application and then to deploy it. And this example was to show you that you should be careful by choosing a way to store the date and time, because there are different types, but some of them are really depending on which zone you are using, and one are just using your local time from a browser time zone. The application has successfully built. Now we are ready to deploy it and to see the result on our page. And after the process of deployment has been finished, we can now open our application and see the outcome. As you can see, the result in a timestamp is actually the same as in a field for the local date and time with the browser settings time zone. So we should be a bit careful with using a timestamp, as it only works with the browser time zone. So now I hope this video was very helpful for you, and you will be more careful with choosing what type to have to store a date and time values. Bye.